Good afternoon, everyone. I'm JP Murrieta, the Sports Information Director at the New Mexico Activities Association. Thank you for being here today. On behalf of the Executive Director, Sally Marquez, and all of us at the NMAA, we'd like to welcome you to this special occasion where today we announce an outstanding individual that will represent the NMAA's Hall of Fame class of 2024. Now, before we bring up the guest of honor, I want to give you a little bit of background on the NMAA Hall of Fame for those who aren't familiar with it. The Hall was established back in 1976, and it's comprised of an elite group of more than 100 accomplished individuals who have made significant contributions to interscholastic athletics and activities. Now, to be considered for the honor, nominees must show great support of the NMAA's philosophy and their objectives, and they must have a combination of involvement in formulating regulations and procedures for various interscholastic education programs, and they must have a minimum of 25 years of service, 20 of which must have been in New Mexico. You got that, right, Wayne? Okay, let's check that box. Nominations are then screened by the NMAA Hall of Fame Selection Committee, which consists of current and former leaders within interscholastic athletics and activities. The committee usually meets around October each year and then selects an individual or individuals for induction. And our individual today is very deserving of this honor. Now, I'd like to tell you a little bit about him. I'm sure many of you in the room are already familiar with him, but for those who aren't, let me tell you what he's done to be worthy of induction into the NMAA Hall of Fame. And then after Wayne comes up and speaks, he'll be available for any questions that might be out there. Wayne Ferguson is the 116th inductee into the NMAA Hall of Fame, with a career in education that spanned over 30 years. Ferguson graduated from Tucumcari High School in 1984, where he was a multi-sport athlete in football, basketball, and track and field. Following graduation, Ferguson continued his education at Eastern New Mexico. He would later earn a master's degree in education from Lesley University. Taught special education, biology, algebra, and applied technology. He then transitioned to Dean of Students and became the Rattlers Athletic Director. In 2019, Ferguson was named the Class 3A Athletic Director of the Year. His coaching career includes the sports of boys and girls basketball, wrestling, football, and track and field. From 2011 to 2021, Ferguson led the Rattlers football team as their head coach and currently serves as Tucumcari's head track and field coach. He led Tucumcari to 2 state titles in track and field in 2008 and 2017. Over his coaching career, Ferguson earned several accolades, including the 2021 NFHS New Mexico Boys Track and Field Coach of the Year, 2021 National Coach of the Year finalist, and was inducted into the New Mexico Track and Cross Country Coaches Association Hall of Fame in 2018. Ferguson also served on the NMAA Commission, the NMAA Football and Track and Field Sport-Specific Committees, and was district chairperson from 2002 to 2018. He's also a member of the New Mexico High School Coaches Association, the NMAA, and the NIAAA. Ferguson and his wife Leslie reside in Tucumcari, and they have friends and family here to celebrate today. Please join me with a big round of applause welcoming the newest member of the NMAA Hall of Fame, Mr. Wayne Ferguson.
Well, this will be easy because this is like talking to people on my daily basis here in my life and at work. When I started this journey, 33 years ago, this is kind of a humbling experience. I never expected to be standing up here receiving an award like this. Even after the multiple awards I've received like this, it's an honor to the people that nominated me and for them to select me. I think over my career, I've strived to develop a relationship across the state, which includes NMAA. It was kind of continuous at the beginning a little bit in my career. There's a different staff than me that worked there, and we kind of butted heads a little bit, but I think we have a pretty good relationship now where all I have to do is make a phone call. I've worked with great people who have let me do my job. One of my bosses is here today, Nicole Bright, Leslie, my principal. Our recently retired superintendent, Aaron McKinney, and our new superintendent who's just taken his place, who was the assistant, Dave Johnson, let me do my job. It's been a privilege. I wanted to go back to Tucumcari to try to make a difference in my hometown. After I left, there was a dip in some stuff that I didn't agree with, and I had some good mentors in Keith Bond, Charles Wilcox, and Don Sparks, some people that kind of led my way into this field to step into their shoes. The smartest decision I probably ever made was marrying a pretty little blonde from El Paso, Texas. And I don't know why I do this, but I knew I was going to get choked up talking about that. As a coach and athletic director, you sacrifice a lot. And my family sacrificed a lot without me. And without her, I wouldn't be where I am here today. So I just want to thank her. I've had the privilege to coach my own kids, my daughter Megan, my son Tyler. I was able to play in this wonderful facility when I was in high school. He got that ability to play in the state championship basketball game here in 2016. I've coached multiple nieces and nephews. One of them is with us today, my niece Dana. She is currently my head volleyball coach and one of my assistants in track. I've even now got the pleasure to coach some and be in the school system with some great nieces. One of them just finished playing in the state tournament here this week, unfortunately losing to Santa Fe Indian School. Her sister was part of all the teams that I've gotten to coach, but she tore her ACL this year and has been out. And if I was hard-headed enough and want to stick it out, here in about, another 6 or 7, 8 years, I'd be able to coach some grandkids as rattlers if I want to do that. And that's been the most important thing to me, is to try to make a difference. Like I said, it's never been about me. I don't like talking about myself. If I was talking about my athletes and stuff like that, I wouldn't be doing this, what I'm doing now, but I'm kind of an emotional person when this has to be like this, about myself. I'm not going to follow in Joe Butler's footsteps and stand up here and talk about myself for 30 minutes. When I first started all this, Chris Kedge sent me a link and said, here, this is what happened last year. And I went, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I may talk for about 50 minutes at the sports banquet at the end of the year about my kids and the teams like that, but I'm not going to stand up here and just spout off about myself, because that's not what it's about. It's always been about representing Tucumcari Public Schools in the best that I can, and trying to be a mentor to the kids that I've had the pleasure of coaching and working with, and my own staff. The one thing I apologize for crying still, that I take pride in is I started this journey as an athletic director 20-something years ago, and we've had stability in our programs, and that has helped us get to where we are right now, I believe. I went through multiple superintendents, principals, Nicole can tell you that, athletic directors, on and on and on. And that was my biggest issue, is we're always having turnover. And turnover happens. If you get into coaching, it's not usually when you're going to get fired, or if you're going to get fired, it's when you're going to get fired. And we're all used to that. But the biggest drawback for Tucumcari back when I first started in the early 90s and even late in the 80s after I got out of high school was they were firing people nonstop. And that had to do with athletic directors and things like that. So the sense of stability, and my bosses let me do the job and trusting me to put a staff together that's going to lead our kids in the right direction is what I'm the most proud about. And it just is fortunate enough that somebody thought enough about me to nominate me for an award like this for those accomplishments. Because like I said, I've never wanted to take credit for my own accomplishments, but this is, I won't lie, this is very nice and very humbling. When I was nominated for was a finalist for the National Boys High School Track Coach of the Year. Was the first one that I was kind of in shock of, and was honoring to go down to a state conference where I actually had to give speeches and talk like that. Was the first of it. This far outweighs that. This is a major honor, even over my Track Coaches Association, because that's all. When I got inducted into the Coaches Hall of Fame for track, that's basically because I have good kids, and I have had good kids over the years to where we won state championships, where I've had multiple state champions and put kids in college and stuff like that. But that's really from their hard work and following and me being smart enough to put some good coaches around me. But this is kind of a proud moment because this is more than just coaching. It's, as the athletic director, is helping the NMAA as much as I can. There's even a time back in the, early 2000s, I even ran the state wrestling tournament in Tucumcari, and I wasn't even the athletic director at that time. This was in Dan Salsweedle's era. They put the state wrestling tournaments around the state and said, Tucumcari's getting the AAA state wrestling tournament. And I said, great. And they said, we need somebody to run it. And our athletic director said, well, I have an ex-wrestling coach. I never wrestled in my life. I was a basketball player. When I first got into this, there was not any basketball jobs, so they asked me to be an assistant wrestling coach for 2 years. And they said, well, we have an ex-wrestling coach that ran all of our tournaments. He'll be able to do it. And they said, well, that's great. We're going to send help from the NMAA to help you. And the help was kind of funny because the help was, I can't remember his name, his athletic director of Tucumcari came work for the NMAA. What was it? John Daniels. And he showed up, he says, I'm not here to help you, you're here to run it. And here I was, not an athletic director, had nothing doing like that. And we ran that. There were state wrestling tournaments, 3 other ones around the state, and we were the only one that year to make any money for the state in New Mexico. All the rest of them were losers. And I think that's the last year that any of those kind of tournaments around the state. So it started back then, and with that learning, like I said, I had lots of good people ahead of me. Coach Span, who's unable to be here. Many of you know he just battled cancer. And he fell back because he left Bernalillo to come here and isn't going to be able to make it. But he's been a big support to me, back and forth each other. So I thank everybody for coming, my family for being here and supporting me like always. And I'm open to any questions from anybody. And I promise not to cry when you ask me any questions.
They might want to speak to you one. Okay. Once again, big round of applause for a man very deserving in the NMAA Hall of Fame, Mr. Wayne Ferguson. Thank you for coming. That concludes today's press conference. Wayne will also be honored this summer at the official awards induction ceremony in July at the Albuquerque Convention Center. So thank you for being here.